Hello and welcome to Love Anything Art. Today I will show you how I made a cane and then made some really pretty jewelry out of it. It's a scrap clay project. Yay! These are all of my scrap clays I have. Basically, I'm going to take a little piece of each of the colors that I have. I want a variety of colors. You can use any colors that you want that you feel look good together. But I'm just going to make it quite colorful. Just take a piece of each. And while I'm doing that and gathering that up, I just want to welcome everybody to my channel. Welcome, welcome. Please take a moment and hit that subscribe button if you are new here. I do post videos every Tuesday, and I have almost or just at 200 videos at the recording of this one. So binge all you want. Alright, so I have my little piece of each of them. And basically you can chop it up, or if you want to just roll it, you can also do that too. Just get your color mixed up, but not mixed up to where the colors become muddy. Basically, you just want to reactivate the clay a little bit, get everything stuck together, and rolled into a tube. Once you have it rolled into tubes, you'll just want to gently tap it. You can also use your roller. I do prefer to gently tap it a little bit just to get it flattened a bit, and then go back over with my roller once I've done a section. Just feel like it keeps the clay in place and it gives you a better thickness all the way across your piece. Okay, I have all of my colors rolled out and flattened, and you can flatten them to where they are different widths. So some of them might be the same and some of them might be a little bit wider. Like that one's a little bit wider than the others. I think that'll add a little bit of variety to your piece. So however wide you want to make them or thin you want to make them. And this is the color that I have chosen for the color that I think is going to just pull everything together. You can use whatever color and whatever brand of clay that you want. This is just what I'm using for my project. Basically, you just want to set aside your rolled out flattened pieces and then take your color, condition it a little bit, and you can either roll it with your roller or put it through your pasta machine if you have one. You do want to get it pretty thin. You're going to wrap this around your flattened clay. So you want it to be kind of thin. So when you put all your pieces together, there's not big clumps of green, since they will all be kind of touching inside of the cane we'll make. I do want to make sure that the sides of my flattened pieces are just pretty even. So I'm just kind of using the edge of my tissue blade and making sure everything's flat and into like a rectangular kind of a shape. And then basically you'll just want to put it on your rolled out clay, and you can gently tap it into place and then begin cutting away all the excess and rolling it up and folding it over and getting everything pressed together and hopefully not getting any air bubbles in there. If you do happen to get an air bubble, you could always use a poker tool or your tissue blade and just make a little slice in there and then kind of tap your finger over it, or you can use your roller and it should get that air bubble out of there. And I have my first one all good to go. Basically, you'll just want to take the rest of yours and roll it up. So put on your favorite podcast or your favorite music, and then just have fun for a little while. Next, I'm going to take some black clay. You can use whatever brand you like or whatever color you like. I just thought that black will pull and tie everything together. You do want to make this rather thin, so you can use your pasta machine or do it by hand, as thin as you can get it. Then cut it down, getting rid of the messy ends. And then also you'll get rid of the messy sides too. You'll take your flattened strips of clay and you want to cut them down to the same length as the black clay. And you'll basically want to do that with all of your colors. Since there are multiple different colors, you'll want to make sure that you don't put the same color beside itself. So just as you're making your cuts, I would just be sure to note which color is where and kind of go in a pattern. Make a row of each of them and then go back and make another row of each of them. I'll just start my cane off by placing one of my flattened pieces on one of the ends with a little bit left over on the outside. And you'll take that and fold it up and over your piece, basically kind of wrapping it up. I think this makes it look better in the center of the cane once the cane is rolled together. And just place your next one right beside it. And this one I'm going to just kind of fold over on itself. Just trying to get that center part of the cane all situated. And then you can start placing on your rest of your pieces. And as you place one on, just roll it over onto the previous section and keep going until you have all of your pieces laid out and covered with the black clay. When you get to the end, I would recommend flattening the pieces. I know it looks kind of wonky right there, but when you get it all rolled up, it looks pretty good. So you just don't want it to be kind of thick on the end. You want it to be very flush with the end of the cane so you don't have like this bump. And then you can finish wrapping it. Cut away the extra black clay. You'll see there it's just kind of flat on the end. You can't really see where it technically stops. Once you have it rolled out to the thickness you want, you'll cut off your messy ends. And since I'm going to be making a couple different things, I need to plan it out. So I am cutting off one section and I'm going to save that for a bracelet I will make. With the rest of my clay, I'm going to cut it basically directly in half. And one of those chunks I will set aside and leave it as is. And with the other piece, I'm going to just gently start to reduce it in size. Okay, and got it down to the thickness and width that I want. And cut away the messy ends. Just give it a gentle roll so everything's nice and tucked together. I'll show you it here. A nice little miniature of the big one. See? Looks pretty cool. And now I can make a necklace out of these pieces. And I do want to make sure that all of my pieces are the same thickness for the big one that I cut and for the smaller pieces. So basically just make sure you cut them all up into roughly the same thickness. And this is my necklace. I did lay it out. I haven't baked it yet, and I haven't finished burnishing it. But I do like to lay out my necklace pieces to kind of see how everything's going to go together so I can plan it out before I bake and before I put everything together. Because I have made previous projects where I forgot to do a step and then my necklace wasn't what I wanted it to be. So I do like to plan it out before baking it. I am going to work on a piece of paper because I find that easier. If you want to leave it on your work surface, you can do that. I just find this easier so when I'm burnishing my piece and flipping it over, it doesn't stick to my work surface and doesn't distort my shape or stick to the surface. You want to make sure that you have it all nice and flattened together, just joining the pieces. I'm very lightly rolling it, and then I'm going to give it a burnish. This piece is going to get a little bit thin, but I'm going to add some clay to the back, so it will make it thicker and more sturdy. Just make sure you give it a pretty good burnish. Once you do that, I would recommend going around the sides of it, and this will flatten it down and kind of smooth it out so that it doesn't come out so much like a cliff and then just drops off. You'll see here it's kind of comes down, almost bubbled like on the top and then flattened towards the sides. I thought it kind of gave it a little something and made it look pretty cool that way. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. Just making sure it's nice and smooth there around the edges. And I really, really like the way that looks. I don't know what y'all think, but I really like those colors together. And you really can't even tell it was scrap clay. And that's what I love about it. But you'll see it is kind of thin, so I am going to... Ooh, so pretty. I'm going to take some rolled out thick black clay, basically either the thickest on the pasta machine, or you can do it by hand, as thick as you would like. Make sure it is big enough to fit your entire piece on there in a whole section. You'll place that on there. And then give it a quick, very light burnishing just to get everything stuck together so it doesn't move around and it starts to connect to itself. Making sure to go around the edges again to kind of flatten it a little bit. And I find using a X-Acto knife works rather well. So you can also use the edge of your tissue blade, but I don't think it'll come out as smooth. Remove all of your excess, and of course you get to save that. And it is kind of rough and jagged, just a little bit around the outside, so I'm going to just run my finger over the edge to smooth the black clay to my scrap clay that I have on top. Just going around, running my finger along there. And I have it nice and smooth. The back's all smooth, and it's pretty thick. Going to place in my eye hooks before baking. You can also do this after baking if you have a drill tool, but either way will work. It is totally your preference. I have one on each side, and that will be for hanging. And then I'm just going to rub my finger quickly across there to get rid of any finger smudges. Go ahead and bake it. While that is baking, I am going to work on my next project. Just going to cut off a piece and kind of smooth down the sides, just like I did on my necklace. I'm going to leave the back pretty much how it is. And again, I'm going to go ahead and plan out how I want my bracelet to be. So for this one, I'm going to use beads in addition to polymer clay. I'm going to place in my eye hook pins. This will be where it will hang. And make sure you go directly across on these. So you'll have 4 on there, 2 on each side, directly across from each other. You can place that on a piece of paper and bake that too. And this is my necklace, all done. You can resin if you want, but I think it is quite beautiful just how it is. I love the colors, and everything ties really nicely together with those little black beads. I just think it's so pretty. I love it. And I also made, drum roll please, just very simple earrings out of the small cane that I rolled out. And of course, just a little simple clasp on the top. I really like these kind of earring hooks, by the way. And then my bracelet. Really fun and simple, and now I have a set. Earrings, necklace, and bracelet that I get to wear. And I can say I made it. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!